All right, hello, hello, hello. This is Ross Vertel. I am faithful reader on the forums, and I'm here with the one, the only Michael Van Breemen to talk about his Worldex. Um, so how are you doing today, Michael?
Fine, how are you?
Doing all right? Okay. Let's. Sorry, I should I should have been a little more prepared, but let's start with your 1E deck, um, which I will bring up here. So this is a Klingon Cardassian Alliance deck. What's your experience with this affiliation? What made you want to try them out on the world stage?
Um, Honestly, I thought I would see Borg assimilation since I saw it the night before. So I thought, okay, let's have something with multiple homeworlds and just sort of hide there. Um, I've played KCA before. It's nothing I'm not familiar with. It's just nice and reliable when you put all the cards in the deck, which I didn't do. Um,
That does help, yes.
yes.
Yeah, I am as the guy that ran a draft, I was fairly shocked that no one played Borg at Worlds proper to the point where it really messed up the draft. Um,
Yeah, I can imagine so. Probably wouldn't have picked Borg for day one, but there's always some. Usually, soon there would be like one person that I would end up running across. So, like, okay, let's just plan accordingly.
and I noticed that you had both the Nor and an outpost.
Yep.
Just in case, again, in case the board came over and blew one up.
No. So the KCA had outpost was to have a place for Regency One to dock. The Mirror Nor is so I could take advantage of primary turbolift as another way for an extra card draw. Um, and the spot to play free ships, the couple of free freighters that I have in the deck. That was the main reason for it. Just another spot to report people, to download if necessary, and to for card draws and free stuff.
Yeah, and I took a look at the deck. It seems pretty straightforward. Get the personnel out, solve the missions. I see that you have a loss in here to report to your overseer Odo.
Yep.
And then I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit about Rebecca Sullivan.
Bricklayer. She's
Oh,
source for that. There aren't that many command stars. Well, there are not so much the command stars, but the astrophysics, which is rare in KCA and geology, and no, she's just nice to have around.
okay, because she does kind of seem to be the one of your go-to personnel for getting out. And at first, I'm wondering what she's doing in the deck, but then I see, oh, she's got good skills, she's got honor, cunning attributes aren't too
Yeah,
horrible except for
she
strength.
has a
So
lot of the stuff that's not common for KCA.
yeah, okay. And you've also got both emblems in here.
Yep.
And then the big question that I've got in my mind is with the copies of Art of Diplomacy, did you get any good kills?
No, I didn't kill anyone because honestly, I would prefer just being left alone.
Hmm,
But no, one goes away for a gun, the other one's there mainly to act as diplomacy.
cool. So no, normally the question that I would ask would be how well did it perform? But given the fact that you were inches away from day two, I'm guessing there were some problems with the deck.
Um, Deck was fine. The fact that I forgot a key card for it in my deck list, that was the main thing. So my deck, the deck were originally supposed to have Homestead in it. That's why all my missions are 30 points or less. Um, by having that in there, I wouldn't have had to go to my heck. That's why see list 29 cards. That's why it's called missing the Homestead because I was missing that. Ideally, I don't want to go to the Alpha Quadrant at all. I just want to do my missions in the um, Mirror Quadrant and just be left alone. I should get up to 100 points pretty easily. And yeah, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So while I got 100 points in most every game, I didn't get or close to. I was delayed by having to go into the Alpha one.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So we know that you were missing Homestead. Are there any other important cards you would put in for a later
I would have
iteration of this
changed
deck?
I would have changed the dilemmas up a bit. I'm never happy with whatever dilemmas I give. So I always would tweak what's there, but I mean I don't hate them all, but they're just more of the there I would have preferred doing maybe some different dilemmas now that I know on the after effect after seeing what I encountered, that would be better for me.
Okay, and on the converse, is there anything that you would take out of this deck that really didn't do you much good that you think you might be better without?
Since I didn't encounter any Borg or battle, I probably would have taken out the Tribunal and the Civil War tent. But other than that, I mean, since those didn't really come up very much, those would be like the two cards I would have taken out only because, again, knowing what I know now, what as far as what I encountered.
Well, um, and of course, I'm sure the question on everyone's mind is, what would you have played day two?
Um, Assuming that this did well enough to get to day two. I had three decks with me that I possibly would have played. One of them was a triple headquarter deck overall revolving around Vulcans. So would have the Starfleet homeworld, the Romulan homeworld, and Vulcan homeworld, and have time travel to be able to go through to any of those time locations, and then poop, go out and maybe peek at a space mission. But ideally, my plan was just to do the three planets and then um, only at the end try to go for space. Option two, play the same deck again because it works. Option three, case on battle. Um, I could get at least from previous times, I was able to get enough weapons to damage almost every outpost on turn two reliably, and use that both for card drawing as well as reporting people with sleeper ship. So again, what wouldn't entirely know what I'd want to go with. It just kind of depends on who I would have been against and what I thought they might have played, that sort of thing. So I don't know
Cool,
what I would have played, but I would have picked would have been my options.
cool. Anything else on 1E before we move on to 2E?
No?
Okay. So, um, there there seems to be a common thread to your 2E decks. And that common
Hi,
thread
Lados.
is, yep, from what I can tell, you just took two decks that are usually good with speed and just poured some gasoline on those fires.
More so with the DS9 than the TNG one, but yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at this deck and I'm wondering what would have prevented you from just going out and being able to start solving missions on turn three, unless you just got a bad shuffle.
Um, I usually don't go out on. I mean, technically, yes, I could do it on turn three ish. Um, I usually wait until turn four. Um, but mainly for a couple of reasons. One, I want both my ships in play. If someone hits me with the Dreamer and like the Zosha is in my goes to my discard pile, I have no I really don't have an easy way to get cards back from my discard pile. So I want both of those in play. So I usually would wait an extra turn just to make sure that happened. Um, Beyond that, once those two ships are in play and I got people, we're going. It doesn't really matter who I have in play. I have the skills for most all the missions by the time I have enough different people in play. And then the common purpose just
Yeah.
makes it go faster.
Well, the thing that I notice is normally there's two commons in the deck. It's generally not these commons. You've got common purpose and
Yep.
you have common enemy, but I noticed that you didn't have common cause.
Yep, I didn't put it in. I was trying to keep the deck smaller, and I didn't need the card drawing as much as I could. I mean, I could have made the deck 3 cards bigger and put those in. I decided not to. I decided just to keep it smaller and just go for the counters, and then the common enemy is just gimme. Like, okay, I only have 4 people here, but oh, I'll now have common enemy to give me enough attributes to pass because I already have the skills spread out. That's pretty much. Or the only other time I used common enemy was weak will perish. Oh, that's going to go under because this person dies.
Yeah. Um, and I also noticed that you've got a few cards in this deck that are well probably might just be played. I call it suboptimally. Things like Charles Vance. You didn't have a lot of Earth personnel.
Oh, I don't use his ability. I can't afford it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, and then I imagine that everyone that's not specifically D Space Nine, they're in for the skills, I take it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what the non-aligns are for. Everyone else is there because they're DS9, they have skills. And of course, 3 quarks because you kind of need quark. He makes it work.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, this seems pretty straightforward. And given that you got to, well, I'd say given that you got to the top the first day, but you got to the top of the list on both days, I imagine this deck performed to your expectations.
Yeah. I both my games against Chris were very close. It was the I needed to stop you on this turn, otherwise he wins sort of situation. But yes, I mean, I didn't lose with them, so they did what I wanted them to do.
Okay. Um, are there any changes you'd make to this deck going forward, or is this deck just pretty good as it is?
I don't know whether or not Lados necessarily makes this necessarily better or worse. Lados require you to use different missions that are objectively more difficult. Um, Integrity greater than 32 for the 2 space missions, and then 30 5 was it 6 6 for the planet. Those require That's a lot harder than what I've done before, which those are 25 integrity missions where, oh, I can solve this with 3 people and I don't even need to cheat, that sort of thing. I'm
Yeah,
not entirely sure whether one is necessarily better than the other because of the mission changes, but the premise is still the same. Get a bunch of counters, drop a bunch of people, solve missions that are very easy, and then rinse and repeat for 3 missions.
yeah, I'm gonna do a quick scan. This deck doesn't seem to be especially integrity focused.
You've
Um,
got you have Odo. Odo is a 6. You have
yeah,
Picard who's an 8. You have Martok who's an 8. You have Linals who's an 8. You have O'Brien who's a 7. You have Olamu who becomes a 7. Um, I can do all my missions with 5 people or less. It's just a matter of which ones are there. So,
yeah. Okay.
oh, and Barial's an 8 too.
I I stand corrected. Um, anything else about your day one deck before we move on to day two?
Oh,
All right. So this deck took me a little longer to figure out. Just because I've tried playing a cadet deck, every time I do, I can never manage to get the cadets out when I need them. Um, and then I saw you're going the two mission route.
yep.
Um, do. And you've got a lot of non-aligned support that, and I'm presuming that these non-aligned guys are there to help just fill in those skill holes.
They're mainly there to solve the planet. There's a lot of diplomacy and law people that are not aligned. Some of the other ones are in case I have to do Lados. So like Errol, he's got almost all this. He's got two of the three skills for it. Um, things like that. But primarily, I only want to do cadet mission and Parliament.
Yeah, and I imagine that plan worked out pretty well.
Yes. Doing it in a way that not everyone expected me to do. And the reason for that is right on your screen right there, Richard Galen.
Oh, let me
Yeah.
see here. Oh, I see. Yeah, I was just scrolling through the deck. I did notice that you have a more higher cost personnel in this deck than you did in the other one.
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right. Let me see here. So were there any matchups you were not looking forward to with this deck?
Um, Maquis. Maquis is bad.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, I mean, granted, I can deal with obviously with Strange New Worlds, but biogenic weapon is problematic when you have only one of any one type of mission. That's honestly why I have the Enterprise E in the deck um, to return events for my core to return an event without any before I actually have to go to that mission. It's the only other than reprimands, that's the only one that can work after the fact, or of course attacking. But Maquis was a concern.
Okay. Um,
Beyond that, I didn't really think of anything that says, oh, this is going to be really bad for me. It was more of the okay, well, if it happens, it happens. We're just going to go for it and see what happens.
okay. And then were there I can't imagine there's any would there be any changes you'd make if you were gonna play with this deck again going forward?
Um, not I'm not really. It was I don't think I would ever play this specific type of thing again, simply because the Richard Galen trick is now known. But because that no, if you don't know it's coming, like, oh, well, obviously know I'm going to solve the cadet mission because there's cadets, so eventually that's going to get solved. But
Mhm.
it's a lot harder to solve Parliament unless you cheat. So if you get someone that can give you three diplomacy, three law, and you give them to a person who has two leadership, and you just passed a wall with bridge officers test, cool. It doesn't matter who you kill because the person is using the bridge officers test has all the mission skills. So as long as you have enough attributes on the people, you're good. But
I
if you know
am
it's
shaking in my
coming, it doesn't
boots.
work.
Yeah, and yeah, I can imagine that someone that gains the skills for a mission is very helpful when you have lead us, which requires you to have different skills on your missions.
Yeah, it's not easy to do two 50-point missions and Lados. It's very tough. There's really only one 50-point space mission you can do and two 50-point planets. And that's it.
Yeah, I've been struggling through the past week trying to think of something that would slow this deck down. The only thing that came to my mind was skill tracking and just trying to knock you out with a skill, but it sounds like you had a way around that.
Yeah, I mean, I have two British officers tests in there simply for a wall like that because most skill tracking stuff require a will stop everyone. It's like, okay, cool. I'll just British officers test, and if I can, I'll reprimand their block. That's kind of what they're in there for. That's why there's only two, one for each mission.
Cool.
I didn't have to do that for the cadet mission, but I did have to do it for Parliament in two of the three games, I believe. Actually, no, technically, I didn't have to do it in my final game with Jared because I actually had a 7 cost card in my hand. But I definitely need to do that against Chris.
Cool. Um, Anything else you want to add before we finish up?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. Well, congratulations on your fourth championship as world champion.
Thanks.
Um, two, one more trophy, you'll run out of fingers on your hand to count them on. Um, yeah, sounds like everyone had a good time. Thank you very much for sitting down to chat, and yeah, we'll talk with you later.